I'm on a boat with an infrared remote. But what if you didn't want to have to use your infrared remote for your television, air conditioner, lights, or fan? Or what if you want to automate that device using your home automation platform? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do today. And the first step to deleting the remote is to use the remote to learn the infrared pulses that are emitted each time you push a button. I'm Mike, this is Smarty Van, let's get to work. All right, if you've ever wanted to control an infrared device like a TV or LED lights, an air conditioning system, or a fan, then I'm going to show you how to use ESPHome to learn or sniff those infrared commands so that you can eventually repeat those and take control of your devices using a home automation platform. In our case, with Smarty Van, of course, it's going to be Home Assistant, but it could be any platform you want. This video is going to be focused on capturing the codes that come from your infrared remote. And in a future video, I'm going to show you how to use those codes to rebroadcast them and control your devices with your home automation platform. We're going to need a couple of things to get started. And of course, we're going to begin with a microcontroller. This is an ESP8266, my Wemos D1 Mini clone. Then we're going to need a 3-pin IR receiver, and you can grab these on Amazon. I'll link to those down below. If you're just going to put this together temporarily, then maybe something like a breadboard would be great, and some jumper wires to connect things up. Finally, you're going to need an infrared remote. So grab one from your TV, your LED lights, your air conditioner, or a fan. Today, I'm using the remote for our MaxxAir fan. You'll probably recognize this. And right there at the end is the infrared LED. I'm certainly not an infrared expert, but in short, infrared remotes work by sending invisible pulses via the infrared LED right here that are received by a receiver on the other end and interpreted into button pushes. So each one of these buttons or functions will send a different series of pulses. So today's goal is to use this remote and receive those pulses with this receiver on a microcontroller running ESPHome, so eventually we can rebroadcast those pulses and control a device like our MaxxAir fan. ESPHome is going to make this really easy because it already supports a variety of protocols, and if your protocol isn't supported, we can just use raw values. Spoiler alert, the next video is going to be specifically about how to control our MaxxAir fan, although learning IR codes can be useful for any device that you have that uses infrared remotes. All right, the first thing we need to do is wire up our circuit. So we're going to use the breadboard that I showed you and our microcontroller and a couple jumper cables to wire up the IR receiver. This is what it looks like on my breadboard. And let's take a look at that over in Fritzing. So here's a basic diagram. I've got the microcontroller stabbed into the breadboard, and I've got our IR receiver here with our 3 pins connected to the microprocessor. On my IR receiver, the first pin is the data pin. The pin on the left here, I have connected to D5. The middle pin is ground, so I've taken that over to ground on the ESP8266, and the right pin is VCC, so I've taken that over to 5 volts. Double check the pin out on your IR receiver and make sure you wire it accordingly. There should be 1 pin for data, 1 pin for ground, and 1 pin for voltage or VCC. Smarty Van now has memberships. There are 4 tiers.
Smarty Pants, Wicked Smile, Gold Star, and Smarty Makes More Sense.
So if you want special access to Smarty Van and cool perks, check out the join button down below. All right, back to it. All right, the next step is to write some ESPHome configuration. If you've never set up an ESPHome device, check out the beginning of our automation playlist down below, and you can get yourself set up. Besides the basic configuration for your ESPHome device, I've set up a single component called Remote Receiver. And the first option is pin. And then I'm setting the number of the pin to D5, and that's the pin that we connected the data pin from the IR receiver to on our microcontroller. I'm setting inverted to true because many IR receivers have active low logic, and so we need to invert that signal as it comes in from the IR receiver. Then one of the configuration options for remote receiver is dump, and I'm choosing to dump all because I don't actually know the protocol for the remote control that I'm using today. And if you don't know the protocol for yours, you might want to start with dump all. I've set the tolerance to 25%, even though that's the default value. I just wanted to mention that if you're having trouble in the future, you could increase this value. The tolerance is the percentage that the remote signal lengths can deviate in the decoding process, so you can make things a little bit more lax when you're reading those signals from your IR receiver. And that's all there is to configure. We're going to hit save and then click install, and that will compile and install on our ESP8266. All right, the next step is the fun part, where we actually get to sniff out or decode these codes coming in from our remote. Once your configuration was compiled and installed, you're left looking at the log output. And if you've already closed that window, you can hit logs under your ESPHome device. When we're looking at the logs, this is going to show us any codes that have been received by our IR receiver. So I'm going to take our remote and I'm going to push one of the buttons right at the IR receiver, and we'll look at our log output here to see that we've recognized a Pronto code. These are actually part of the same code. They're just too long for a single log output. So both of these lines combined represent a single Pronto code output. So from here, you can go through and push all the buttons on your remote and see them pop up in your logs, copy and paste those into a text file, and organize them so that you can mark down which codes belong to which buttons. If you're not seeing anything when you push buttons on your remote, of course, check that you have batteries in the remote, double check the wiring for your specific IR receiver connected to your microcontroller. The last thing you could try is setting dump to raw. This will just output the raw IR pulse signals to the output in the logs, and then you can use those instead of a particular protocol. When you do see output in the logs, when you've pushed a button on your IR remote, we're going to take those and copy it over to a text file and organize them. If yours is like mine and the code's too long for a single log line, you might see 2 log lines every time you push a button. So I'm going to copy both of those and take them over to an empty text file, and I'm going to say that I pushed the off button on my remote, and I'm going to paste this. I'm going to clean this up a little bit by removing the log notation here, and I'm going to get this all on one line with the correct spacing. There, now I have a complete Pronto code for the off button. Once you've got one, you can continue on and push all the buttons for your remote and capture the codes for each button press. The next thing we can do in ESPHome is take one of the codes that we've learned and see if we can turn on the LED of our microcontroller by pushing the button on our remote. So let's take a look at the additional ESPHome configuration. So I've added 3 things to our configuration now: a binary sensor, a script, and a switch. The binary sensor is essentially going to turn on when it receives one of our defined codes, and I've called that input receive. Then I'm defining Pronto as the protocol because my codes came in as Pronto from my MaxxAir fan remote. The data is going to be the long string of numbers that we take from our text file here, and we paste here, and that's going to be in quotations. Then there's delta, and that's defined in microseconds. That gives some tolerance to the Pronto protocol, allowing for slight variations in the IR pulses. Then we're going to have an action called onPress, and that's going to be triggered anytime that Pronto code is received. Then the action is script.execute, and we're executing a script called flash LED. Then I'm defining that script below, and the ID is flash LED. That's the one we've just called above, and the mode is restart. So anytime this code is received, we're going to restart this script. And then here's the actions. We're going to repeat for a count of 3 times. Then we're going to do switch, turn on, and we're going to target the ID LED. We'll delay for 100 milliseconds, and then we'll switch, turn off the LED, and we'll delay another 100 milliseconds. So this is essentially going to flash an LED 3 times rapidly. Next, I need to define the LED that our script is targeting. So I'm just using the switch component for that, and I'm using the platform GPIO because the LED onboard, our ESP8266, is connected to one of the GPIO pins. There's a link down below in the description that you can look at to see which pin your onboard LED might be using if you're not using a Wemos D1 Mini. In my case, it's pin D4. I'm going to make this internal so it doesn't get sent over to Home Assistant, and then I'm going to set this to inverted true so that LED is off by default. Then the restore mode is always off so that anytime our ESP boots, the LED is set to off. So with these 3 things configured, our ESP8266 is looking for a Pronto code from the IR receiver, and when it sees that code, it's going to trigger a script which is going to flash the onboard LED of our ESP8266. So we'll hit save, then we're going to click install, and that'll compile and install on our ESP8266. Once your additional configuration has been compiled and installed on your microcontroller, you should be able to give it a test. So I'm going to take my MaxxAir fan remote, point at the IR receiver, and push the off button. There we go. 3 flashes of the onboard LED on our microcontroller. You should also see that in the log output if you're still connected in the ESPHome editor. So if you're just wanting to use an old IR remote you have laying around to control something in Home Assistant, then you're just about done. You can learn the rest of the commands from the buttons on your remote and set those up to control switches that will be integrated into Home Assistant. But for most of us, we want to now take those codes that we've learned and be able to send those out to control things like our MaxxAir fan or other IR devices that you have in your vehicle. So we need to replicate what this remote can do using an infrared LED. So we need something just like this. And we're also going to need a resistor to connect that up. So make sure to grab those parts linked down below so that you can be ready for the next video where I'm going to show you how to get rid of this remote and use Home Assistant to send those infrared pulses out to things like your MaxxAir fan to control them from Home Assistant. Thank you to our Road Scholar and our Smarty McSmart Face members. We really appreciate your support. And thank you to everyone for joining in. Jump over to the Discord server linked down below to get some help and to help each other. All right, until next time, safe travels.